You know that feeling? When you're putting in all the hours, doing everything you're supposed to do for success, but something still feels off, like you're just spinning your wheels.
Absolutely. It's that little voice saying, is this it? Is all this hard work the only way? Often it means we're stuck in an old way of thinking about work.
Okay, good, because that feeling that there must be more is exactly what we're digging into today. We've been reading Vishen Lakhiani's book, The Buddha and the Badass, The Secret Spiritual Art of Succeeding at Work.
Quite a title, right?
It definitely signals this isn't your standard dry business advice. It blends, spiritual ideas with some really practical work strategies. It's a fascinating mix.
It really is. And our mission here, for you listening, is to pull out the most powerful, maybe even the most surprising insights from it. Give you a kind of shortcut to understanding a really different way to think about work.
Right. So it's not about just like doubling down on the hustle. It's more about unlocking something inside you, your values, your potential, this whole different mindset, finding a better engine than just pure effort.
And that's key. Lakhiani straight up challenges the whole idea that hard work and hustle are the only paths. He actually calls that belief a modern myth.
A myth. Okay, so that's where it gets really interesting for me, because that goes against so much of what we hear, doesn't it? So if it's not just the grind, what's the alternative he's suggesting?
Well, he talks a lot about bringing your whole self, your spirit, your soul, as he puts it, into your work. The idea is that when you're fully engaged mind and spirit, that's when special things start to happen.
Special things. He even uses the word magic, I think. And he's pretty upfront that some of this stuff is more spiritual, maybe not scientifically proven yet.
That's crucial. He's open about that spiritual dimension. But it's not about, following one guru. He actually says he doesn't believe in guruship. His approach is more about weaving together ideas from lots of different mentors and thinkers.
So taking wisdom from different places, seeing what works, which fits his own story, right? He was big on his own personal growth happening alongside building his company, Mind Valley.
Exactly. He had this mantra, grow myself, grow my business, repeat. He saw them as totally interconnected. You can't really separate business success from your own development.
And it wasn't just talk. At Mind Valley, they really focused on employee growth, and apparently it led to some concrete results.
Yeah, they reported things like better health stats for employees, and the company got recognized as a healthiest employer. So it suggests there's a real link between investing in people's growth and having a successful, thriving company.
Which leads to this other interesting idea he brings up about some people seeming to operate differently. Like they're almost beyond just the data. They attract people. Opportunities just seem to land in their lap. They just seem lucky.
He suggests these people might be tapping into something beyond the hard data. They show what looks like unusual luck, or maybe synchronicity, and they have this kind of magnetism that pulls people towards their mission.
And this is where we get into bending reality, the idea that how we see the world actually shapes it.
Precisely. He makes this bold claim. Reality doesn't really exist. We make it all up, all the time, and you can bend reality. He connects this to being in a state of play, almost accessing like superhuman abilities.
Okay, bending reality sounds intense. But the core idea isn't literal magic, is it? It's more about our beliefs.
Exactly. It's about recognizing how your own limiting beliefs, the rules you think you have to follow, actually create the reality you experience. By questioning those beliefs, you open up possibilities you didn't even see before. It's about mindset.
So what are these limiting beliefs that hold us back, especially at work?
That's what he introduces rules. Short for, well, bullshit rules.
Right.
These are the conditioned beliefs we pick up, often without even realizing it, from society, family, wherever. They box us in, like you have to suffer to succeed, or work isn't supposed to be fun.
Okay. Those unwritten rules we just accept.
Exactly. And bending reality starts with spotting these rules in your own life and work, and then actively challenging them. When you do that, life can start to feel more aligned, more magical maybe. You notice more luck, synchronicity, flow.
He also really emphasizes that we're more than just our physical bodies, right? More than just biology and brain chemistry.
Yes, that's fundamental to his view. We're multidimensional. We have spirit, soul, energy, deep longings, unique talents he calls superpowers. It's a much bigger picture of what it means to be human.
Which brings us neatly to the first main part of the book, becoming magnetic. How to draw things to you, essentially.
The core idea here is that you can become this powerful magnet by making sure your work aligns with your deepest values, your soul's cravings, basically.
And he talks about this astonishing truth. 4 key needs people really crave from their work, if you meet those needs.
And then work stops being just a job. It can actually become a place of healing, a place where you feel more powerful. Understanding those needs is key to making work engaging for yourself and others.
He also reframes success and failure. Says they're kind of illusions.
Yeah, it's a bit provocative. He suggests that what really matters isn't hitting some external target, but the speed of your own evolution. How fast are you learning, growing, removing those internal barriers to becoming your best self? That's the real game. Self-actualization.
And that journey towards self-actualization can lead even higher to what he calls self-transcendence.
Right. That's when your focus shifts beyond yourself. You choose a mission that's bigger than you, and it feels like the universe kind of conspires with you to make it happen.
Okay, so how do we start becoming magnetic? Step one seems to be understanding your soul print. What exactly is that?
Your soul print is basically your set of foundational values. These are the core principles that drive your decisions, whether you're aware of them or not. Knowing them helps you make choices, especially career choices, that are genuinely right for you.
He shares his own story of burnout, feeling miserable, even when a business looks successful on the outside because it wasn't aligned with his soul print.
That's a powerful example. He realized his work felt empty because it clashed with his core values, even though he hadn't consciously identified them yet.
And he brings in Drama Starlight's idea of two types of values, foundational and organizational. What's the key difference there?
Foundational values are deep, personal, defining who you are or what an organization truly stands for. They usually don't change much. Organizational values are more about the day-to-day attitudes and behaviors you want in the team they can evolve.
So foundational are like the bedrock, organizational are more like the house rules?
Kinda, yeah. And you need to know your own foundational values first. He suggests the origin story exercise to uncover them.
How does that work?
You basically reflect on your life's big moments, the highs, the lows, the times you really struggled. Look for the common themes, the emotions. What values were being honored in the good times or violated in the bad? That helped you pinpoint them. He found his were things like transformation, connection, compassion, growth.
It's like that Steve Jobs quote about connecting the dots looking backward.
Exactly. And Viktor Frankl's idea, too. Suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. Your past challenges often point directly to your deepest values and purpose.
Now, living by these foundational values in a team, he mentions it can be disruptive initially, like people leaving Mindvalley.
Yes, that's a really important, honest point. When a company gets crystal clear on its foundational values, some people might realize it's not actually a good fit for them personally. If their own core values clash, they might choose to leave.
But the flip side is stronger alignment and faster growth in the long run.
That's what he reports. After that initial shakeup, Mindvalley apparently saw accelerated growth because the people who stayed and the new people they attracted were deeply aligned with the core mission and values. Everyone was pulling in the same direction.
And organizational values, those are more of a team effort, right? They
Yeah.
develop over time.
Yes, ideally. They should be more democratic, reflecting what the team collectively agrees is important for how they work together. Mindvalley apparently went through a whole process in 2019 to define theirs.
Okay, so once you know your soul print, your core values, the next step is attracting your allies, the right people.
Because greatness is best achieved with others.
Yeah.
And people are drawn to alignment. They sense when someone shares their values, their vision.
He tells that story about being put on a watch list after 9/11 just because of his name, which shows how much external labels can affect things.
Yeah, and that reinforced for him the need to listen to your inner voice, your intuition. Like that quote from the movie Babes he mentions, never ignore those little ideas that keep nudging you.
And he has this principle: forget knowing how exactly you'll achieve something big. Focus on the why and the what, then share that passionately.
That's a big one. If you're clear and passionate about your purpose, the people with the skills, the resources will be drawn to you. You magnetize them.
He used this himself with that huge goal for Mindvalley, making it the world's greatest workplace in Kuala Lumpur, which must have seemed crazy at the start.
Right. Limited resources, big ambition. But the vision itself, communicated with passion, acted like a magnet. It pulled in the talent needed. It reminds me of Jim Collins' good to great idea, first who, then what. Get the right people on board first.
And a tool for this is the manifesto technique.
Yeah, basically writing a clear declaration of what you believe, what you stand for, what your project or company is all about. Mindvalley's manifesto has things like business should be fun and idealism. profits come second.
It's designed to really resonate with some people and maybe even put others off, right? No lukewarm reactions.
Exactly. You want strong attraction or strong repulsion, not apathy. It connects to Simon Sinek's Start With Why. Inspire people with your purpose, not just what you do.
He also talks about creating a vivid vision, this detailed picture of the future, like 3 years out. How does that help attract people?
A vivid vision, which comes from Cameron Herold's work, paints such a clear picture of where you're going that potential allies can really see it. They understand the destination, they get excited, they want to be part of making it real, like Mind Valley's vision for a school for humanity.
And the best ones are co-created, getting others involved and shaping that future vision.
Definitely. When people feel they've had a hand in creating the vision, they have much more ownership and motivation to make it happen.
Okay, this leads us into part 2 of the book, Finding Your Power. He talks about 4 key elements: connection, unfuckwithability, growth, and mission. These sound like the traits of those people who just get things done and make work feel good.
That's a good way to put it. These are the pillars, he argues, for not just achieving results, but doing it in a way that inspires others and creates a really positive energy.
Let's start with unfuckwithability. Memorable word. What's the essence of it?
Yeah, it grabs your attention. Essentially, it's a state of inner calm, resilience, where external negativity, criticism, drama, it just doesn't throw you off course.
Really?
It comes from feeling deep down that you're enough and seeing your life as your own unique creation.
So it's not about being aggressive, it's about inner peace.
Exactly.
Right.
Inner peace that makes you resilient. And this isn't just about feeling nice, it directly impacts your ability to stay focused and effective, especially when things get tough.
He mentions that Sean Aker experiment with the 2-minute appreciation technique at an insurance company. Sending short thank you emails actually boosted revenue. How does that relate?
It might seem indirect, but think about it. Regularly expressing appreciation builds social connection, creates a more positive environment. Aker's study showed it boosted connection scores and revenue. Feeling connected and supported makes you more resilient, more able to handle stress, which contributes to that unfuckwithability.
Okay, that makes sense. Then there's the 3 most important questions. Exercise 3 MIQs. Experiences, growth, contribution. What's the goal there?
It's a simple but really powerful tool for self-reflection and team connection. Asking yourself and your team what experiences you want, how you want to grow, and how you want to contribute it brings clarity to personal goals. And sharing those answers helps leaders understand how to support people, and it builds much deeper bonds within the team. He shares some great stories from Mind Valley about how it worked.
And the Dream On program, like Make a Wish for employees' life goals. That sounds like a really tangible way to build connection.
Absolutely. When a company actively helps employees achieve significant personal dreams, it sends a powerful message. We care about you as a whole person, not just an employee. That fosters incredible loyalty and connection. He tells that touching story about how helping one employee reconnect with family impacted another's health.
It shows even small gestures matter, like him giving that book, Start Something That Matters, to an employee named Yusuf.
Yeah, that simple act of recognizing and supporting Yusuf's personal dream apparently strengthened their connection and boosted Yusuf's engagement and performance. It shows that feeling seen and valued as an individual really motivates people.
Which flows nicely into the next element, growth. He says, your soul isn't here to achieve, your soul is here to grow. That's a big shift from traditional success metrics.
It really is. He's saying stop obsessing only over the outcomes, the wins and losses. Focus instead on the journey, on learning, on evolving. Success and failure become less important than the speed at which you're growing.
He shares a tough personal story about betrayal and losing money, and how Srikumar Rao gave him that advice. Your work is not about your work. Rather, your work is the greatest vehicle for your personal growth.
That was a game changer for him. Reframe challenges not as setbacks, but as opportunities. Work becomes this amazing laboratory for discovering more about yourself, developing resilience, learning new skills.
And Ken Honda's research on Japanese millionaires backs this up, right? Feeling rich is often more about mindset than money.
Exactly. Honda found that feeling wealthy was often linked to gratitude and contentment, not just the number in the bank account. It's an internal shift.
He also mentions Reverend Michael Beckwith's ideas of Kensho and Satori, 2 ways growth happens.
Kensho is like those sudden breakthroughs, often spurred by difficulty or pain. Satori is more gradual growth, insights gained over time through reflection and learning. Both are important parts of the process.
And that Google finding that their best people often transformed big losses into growth really highlights the power of Kensho, that growth through adversity.
It shows that resilience, the ability to learn from mistakes and setbacks, is incredibly valuable. It turns potential negatives into fuel for development.
So work is the ultimate laboratory for personal transformation. How do we actively use it that way?
Well, Lakhiani talks about consciously designing your life for growth. He shares his own experiment, cutting out sugar and processed food, getting rid of those Mars bar naps, and how much it boosted his energy and health. That personal change then spread through the company culture at Mindvalley.
Right, they started prioritizing health more broadly, even doing things like Spartan races together.
Exactly. And he details his own personal growth routine, optimizing sleep, using his 6-phase meditation, doing high-intensity exercise like the 10X protocol, speed reading.
He calculates he saves something like 15 hours a week with all that.
Yeah, it's significant. It's about investing time in practices that yield much greater returns in energy, focus, and efficiency.
And he also mentions morning autonomy for employees.
Giving people control over their mornings, letting them start when they're most productive or incorporate their own routines, apparently boosts engagement and focus significantly. It acknowledges that personal well-being fuels professional performance.
Okay, the last of the 4 elements. Choose your mission wisely. He recalls advice he got. Hire smart people, give them good work, trust them, and crucially, make them see their work as a mission.
That last part is key. When work feels like a mission, not just a job, it unlocks a whole different level of motivation and commitment.
He uses examples like Elon Musk and SpaceX aiming for Mars, or Richard Branson attracting talent with big, inspiring missions. It taps into that desire to be part of something bigger.
Absolutely. People want meaning. Research backs this up. Meaningful work is a huge driver of engagement and retention, often more than just fun or perks.
This connects to Maslow's idea of self-transcendence,
Yeah.
right? Focusing beyond yourself.
Yes, that highest level where your drive comes from contributing to something larger, a cause or the well-being of others. Lakhiani suggests this is where truly impactful work happens.
And he introduces humanity plus versus humanity minus companies, asking us to really think, does my work help or harm ultimately?
It's a stark question. Is your work contributing positively to humanity and the planet, even in a small way? Or is it primarily extractive or even harmful? He uses Tom Chi turning down a big job offer on ethical grounds as an example.
A message isn't that everyone needs to save the world, but
But at least don't mess it up for the next generation, as he puts it. Strive for a net positive impact, whatever your field.
and having a massive transformational purpose, an MTP, helps attract the best people.
Definitely. A really big, bold, inspiring goal acts like a magnet for top talent who want to make a real difference, not just collect a paycheck.
I like Sri Kumar Rao's advice here too. Stop trying to be inspiring. Instead, be inspired.
It's so true. Authentic passion is contagious. If you're genuinely fired up about your mission, that energy naturally inspires others. Like that dry cleaner, Carlos Vasquez, who offered free cleaning to the unemployed, just pure inspiration-driving action.
Lakhiani calls himself a founder activist and talks about Mindvalley taking public stances on issues. Did that help them?
Apparently, yes. He says committing publicly to social causes strengthened their brand, employee pride, and attracted customers who shared those values.
What?
It underlines MLK's point. Our lives begin to end the day. We become silent about things that matter.
Okay, moving towards the end of the book, Chapter 8 is about operating as one unified brain. What's needed for those really big visions?
You need the whole team functioning like a single entity, deeply connected, sharing information fluidly, like that idea of brain coupling or neural synchronization, that feeling when everyone's just perfectly in sync.
So deep connection is key. Technology helps, but he also warns about hierarchy slowing things down, like Ed Catmull saw at Pixar.
Right. Rigid structures can block the flow of ideas and slow down decisions. Lakhiani saw that in Mindvalley too, so they adopted the OODA loop.
Observe, orient, decide, act. From the military, how does that help a company?
It's a framework for making decisions really quickly and efficiently, especially in fast-changing situations. Mindvalley uses it to cut down on meetings, streamline communication, and iterate much faster. Their rapid growth and the short cycles of their products show how important that agility is.
And transparency is crucial for this unified brain. Open access to information.
Absolutely. Things like sharing OKRs widely mean everyone understands the goals, sees the bigger picture, and can contribute more effectively. It builds trust and collective ownership.
Finally, Chapter 9. Identity upgrading and the beautiful destruction. Sounds pretty deep.
It is. The core idea is that your reality mirrors your identity, your deepest beliefs about who you are. So the most powerful way to change your reality is to upgrade your identity.
And the beautiful destruction part.
That's the necessary process of letting go, dismantling the old parts of your identity that are holding you back, to make space for the new, more expanded version of yourself to emerge. It might feel uncomfortable, but it's essential for major growth. Focusing on identity, he argues, is more powerful than just focusing on habits or goals.
He connects this to brainwave states, alpha, theta, delta, gamma, linking them to different parts of a healthy identity.
Yeah, he maps things like well-being, creativity, abundance, and love to these different brain states, suggesting a balanced, healthy identity involves activity across these frequencies. Alpha for focus, theta for creativity, delta for rest, gamma for peak performance.
And he offers a technique called lofty questions for this identity upgrade.
It's a simple but powerful technique. You ask yourself empowering questions in the present tense, like, why am I so creative? Or why am I so abundant? Even if you don't feel it yet, asking the question repeatedly starts to reprogram your subconscious towards that desired identity.
The overall takeaway feels like life and work aren't meant to be just a constant struggle. They're supposed to be more ease, more flow, more expansion.
That's exactly it. And balancing acceleration, that focused work, with navigation, letting your mind wander for creative insights, is key to achieving that flow state and avoiding burnout.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive into the Buddha and the badass really pushes us away from just glorifying hard work. It's about tapping into your inner world, your values, your mission, your mindset. It's about connection, resilience, that unfuckwithability growth, and having a bold vision.
Precisely. It's a shift towards realizing how much power your inner state has in creating your outer results. It's about working smarter, deeper, not just harder.
So, for you listening, the final thought is, what's your soul print? What are the rules you might be living by without realizing it? And what would it actually look like for you to start bending reality in your own work, your own life? What kind of impact do you truly want to create?
Yeah, definitely chew on those questions. And if this resonated, maybe check out the book itself or look into some of the resources mentioned, like Mind Valley or Jim Quick's work. See which ideas really stick with you and think about one small step you could take to integrate them.